Hi, Kemba. Hope you're doing well. Just a thought on what maybe you learned individually and as a team from the Toronto series that you can take in this Eastern Conference final, and just maybe after a couple of down days, your excitement and energy level playing in the Eastern Conference against the Miami Heat Eastern Conference Finals.
Um, I mean, Toronto was a real challenge. Those guys are defending champs, and both teams gave it all we had. I think that's the greatest lesson. I think is the intensity of the playoffs and how hard it is to win a single game. So yeah, especially learning how to finish quarters out and finish games out. I think those are a few lessons that we've learned.
Question in person, Malika Andrews.
The show just talked about how the complexity of teams gets higher and higher and greater the farther you get into the playoffs. I'm wondering what you think of that assessment and what are kind of your guys' strands of complexity that you think he's talking about?
I think, you just have to be ready at all times. Like, I think, Miami is even just a whole different team, than Toronto. They play very, very differently. So you just have to adjust. You have to be able to adjust, pretty fast, and you have to switch things on and off pretty fast. As soon as our series was over against Toronto, we kind of had to, shift our minds right to Miami. So yeah, you just have to be locked in and willing to learn really fast and on the fly.
Question in person, Dan Woike.
Kemba. People around the league, when they talk about the Heat, the word culture comes up a lot. Competing against them through the years, how would you describe how that culture looks on the court?
They play hard. They play really hard. Obviously I've never played for the organization, but you're right. When you hear about them, you hear about the culture and how hard those guys work. And playing against those guys over the years, I've definitely seen that. They have a great head coach, man. I've got a chance to spend some time with Coach Spoelstra, get to know him a little bit. He's a great person. And competing against him over the years, I've always known how great of a coach he is as well. So yeah, we know those guys are going to be ready. So are we. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be fun.
Question in person, Rebecca Harlow.
Yeah, hey, Kemba. One of the strengths of this team is your versatility, and then now you're playing another team that also has a lot of versatility. So in your mind, when you look ahead to this series, what are a couple of the things that you think are going to be most important for the Celtics if you guys want to come out on top of this?
We just got to be locked in. We got to do it all, for a very long time, especially defensively. Those guys have so much scoring, and it's just so many different ways they can score the basketball. So we're going to have to be really locked into their shooters. Really locked into Jimmy, obviously. Bam, who's just a different kind of big, who can do pretty much everything. So yeah, like you said, we're versatile, but so are they. So we're just going to have to figure ways out to get stops consistently.
One of the things that Coach says he loves about you the most is that of the good teams that he's around, he loves the studiers, and that you're one of those guys who will just really dive into the film. He appreciates that you guys can really get into that. Are you one of those guys who, in the middle of the night, you'll wake up, start thinking things through, get on your computer, look at stuff? Like, describe to me how you go through your process.
I wouldn't say middle of the night, but yeah, I try my best to watch as much film as I can. That's the best way to kind of, get to know your opponents. And obviously, I've been around for a long time, so I play with a lot of dudes who watch a lot of film. So I've learned that, over the years. But yeah, it's just a great way to get your mind prepared, for what you're getting into. Like I said, Miami's such a great team with great players. I want to give myself, kind of an edge. when I'm in the game, I want to know what plays are coming, and I want to know guys' tendencies and stuff like that. So, just trying to prepare myself, mentally for a battle. That's what it's going to be.
Thank you.
Of course.
Question in person, Morgan Mitchell.
Hey, Kemba. So you talk about being locked in, but obviously we're in a situation where it's not a normal playoff run. So how hard is it to be locked in, but also using your platform, because there's been so much discussion around players making sure that they do that while still competing?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, you got to know how to separate the two, I think. But, kudos to everyone who was here for using that platform. Kudos to the NBA for allowing us using that platform to help create change. Chris Paul, Andre Iguodala, Jaylen Brown, who's my teammate, man. Those guys are, we're the head of the snake. They led us in helping us use our platform to create change. And I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, you just have to know how to separate it. And ultimately, we are here to play basketball, and try and make a playoff push. That's all when we're on the court. When we're off the court, we can use our platforms to create social change.
Tom Westerholm.
Hey, Kemba. Miami and Boston is historically kind of a rivalry. I was just curious what that dynamic is like for yourself, just who's kind of relatively new to the Celtics organization.
Trying to play basketball. I'm not really worried about the rivalry too much, honestly. At this point, it's kind of irrelevant. It's the Eastern Conference Finals, two teams trying to get to the finals. So, regardless of what team it would have been, it's going to be a dogfight. We both have great opportunities in front of us, and we both want it. So, it's going to be a war. Looking forward to it.
Abby Chin.
Kemba, I have a couple. Number one, did you allow yourself to enjoy the series win over the Raptors a little bit?
A little bit that night, yes, for sure. I've never made it this far, so I thought it was definitely meaningful for me to kind of enjoy it that night.
And then we've seen some clips of when you were mic'd up in your leadership and just how encouraging and positive you are with your teammates. I'm curious, how would you describe your leadership style? And is that something that's developed over time, or is that just kind of the way that you want to be led?
I'm just usually being myself, I don't know. That's all I'm doing. Whenever I see a guy is down and maybe not making shots, he's usually capable of making or whatever. If I see a guy down, best to go tell him to keep his head high. That's just who I am. I'm just a very positive person. And I've always felt that you can't really play the game of basketball mad or upset because it just compounds everything else. So I just like to see my teammates with their heads high, with great energy, because I know when it's me, those guys are coming up to me and helping me stay positive, helping me keep my head high. Especially through those last two games where it was tough for me. The Toronto Bucks didn't want me. I was struggling to make shots in the second half. My teammates, they encouraged me so much to keep shooting the basketball and keep making plays as much as I can. Even though I still struggled, I was able to pull out a huge win. And that's because my teammates, allow me to, stay level-headed, throughout the game. You just have to appreciate moments like that.
All right, we're going to wrap it up right there. Thanks, Kemba.
Of course, thank you.
How are you feeling, Bobby?